Cloud. Okay, and hello everybody. It's your girl Firestarter from the world famous Vertical Josen. I'm super excited about today's VJ's podcast. I have one of my favorite people in the world joining us today. She is all things amazing. I go to her for so many resources, for so many different things. All my feminine questions, all my grown and sexy questions. She's one of the people that I go and talk to. So, with that being said, I am bringing you today Miss Gigi. She is representing Kinked Up ATL, and she is a sexologist of 8 years. Man, y'all make some noise for my friend Gigi! Ah! All right. So, Gigi, you can unmute yourself and say hello to the people.
I was over there screaming and y'all couldn't even hear me. Hi, everybody. I'm so excited to be here. Hey, how are you?
I'm doing good. You look amazing, sis.
Oh,
This purple eye is shining bright like a diamond, honey. Okay?
What you mean? Look at you. You over there.
Listen,
you on your everything over there, man. Like you were just look at that ponytail.
Listen.
Look at you.
Listen, I'm doing the most. This is, I'm staying doing the most.
I need that.
Okay, you're going to get all go everything today. And no lie, this outfit, I tried to like wear it out, but I couldn't, the shoes that I had to wear with it, like tore up. Like that's how long it's been since I've been like out.
Oh, yeah.
So then I was like, I might as well just wear this for Gigi because I can be barefoot and live my best life.
Well, I'm so glad. I'm so glad you did it for me. You can do it for me anytime, okay? And I don't know how I'm gonna get that pony on these locks, but we're gonna figure it out how we're gonna pony these locks up some kind of way.
You know, first of all, you done gave me a whole new occupation as if I wasn't already doing too many things, but now I got to add that to my list. I need to create a pony for Gigi to add to these locks. Now your lock is already so long. What kind of pony are we going to do? Are we going to the booty? Are we going to what are we gonna do here?
I want it all the way down like to my boot pony. You know what I'm saying? I want to extend this thing, you know? So let's come on, let's design something. You and Mama Joe get together and design me something. Okay.
Okay, then look, say less. I am with it. Okay. I'm gonna get it gathered. So,
all right.
Friend, we are gathered here today because I've had a lot of questions, and I know that you have the answers. So many places that we could go with this, but I'm gonna start with tell us a little bit about your background. Like I know Gigi for all things feminine, like feminine care, like keeping your coochie hygiene up and popping, juicy and succulent, I also, know her to be someone that I can just go and talk to if I have any questions. I just came into this 40 club, so a lot of things are a bit different, and she always has great advice. And people ask me every day about my waist beads, and Gigi is who I go to get my waist beads. So I want to start first with, give us a little background about yourself, and let us know, like, why did you decide to go into this basically role as a therapist to like help women take better care of themselves, liberate themselves, love themselves. Like, where did you like start? Because it's like people don't just go to school for like, yeah, I'm gonna go to school to teach women how to love themselves. So tell us about your background and how you decided to transition into this as a career.
Absolutely. So my background, first of all, I'm from Louisiana, so I'm a Louisiana country girl. But my background is in microbiology. So I'm actually a microbiologist, and I did that for 10 years in the field of body health, body science, women's health, infectious diseases, STDs, HIV. So that's I'm really a nerd, you know what I'm saying, as far as how the body works. And I've always loved it. I've always loved science, like since I was a very young child, like really trying to get in depth of just learning, what all this stuff means, right? But then as I started to get older, working that career, like it just wasn't, it wasn't really feeding my soul. Like, even though science was something I really wanted, working in the hospitals, I started to realize that it was a machine attached to that, you know, and I was a part of it, you know. So just going through the rigmaroles, and I was married. My 13-year marriage started to kind of like fall apart and go through some things too. But one of the main reasons why my marriage started to fall apart was because of my lack of self-care. You know what I'm saying? Which I realized was something that I had learned from my mom. You know what I'm saying? Which was to be, you know, overly giving, always sacrificing yourself, putting everybody else in front of yourself, putting you last. And then when you look around and find out that you're tired, you're exhausted, you ain't getting nothing, you ain't receiving nothing, then you're wondering what's happening, what's going on. So after everything started to fall apart, and I was starting to just lose everything because I could no longer keep up with that role, then I was left with myself. And then I had to realize, well, how did I get here? What's going on? You know, so at the end of 13-year marriage, that's where I found myself, you know what I'm saying, by myself. And, you know, him and I had a business together. So the business was done, and I had already, you know, quit the microbiology job to do music full time, which is another love and a gift that I had, which is writing music and being in tune with the energy. But I found myself, you know, in that space. And so I just really started to tap in, and I was like, God, I know there's got to be something out here. It's got to be something that you have for us. And so I decided to, you know, Google search Aries for that day, you know, just see what was going on. And something called a birth natal chart came up. And I was like, what is this? So as I was reading it, I started to see other aspects of me, not just the Aries part. I found that I was a Pisces moon that was talking about my emotions. Right. So all of this information started to come out that started to force me into learning who Gigi really was. And when I started to realize who Gigi was, I realized at the core of what was going on, I was not in my feminine at all. I was completely working in my masculine. I felt like I had to protect myself. I felt like I had to fight for everything that I needed. So I wasn't receiving things. And because I wasn't receiving, I plummeted out. I just, you know, everything left, you know. So I learned how to get myself back up. I started really searching astrology a little bit more. I started following this lady called Kinky Stevens. She had Juju Mama, which was all about also empowering the relationship and empowering the body. So I started to like read Montauk Chia, which was talking about the inner smile and how to like, I just really just jumped off the cliff, yo, with what I needed for myself, because I had spent, at that point, I had spent 30 years denying myself, you know? So then I started to think, well, if I'm doing this, I wonder how many other people doing this. How many other women that, you know, we pattern off of our mothers, which is to be so just giving everything away and then being angry when we're not getting anything. So I went on a journey of being very transparent, which is another thing that I did not, my mom is very private. You know, I feel like that generation before us, they don't talk about a lot of things. Sex being one of those things, right? But they don't talk about things. And because of that, we had to start talking. We had to be the ones to be like, well, hold on, come on. Where are we going to get this information from? So I felt it was my duty to just not only learn myself, but just to explode with what it was that I was going through, so that we can take off the mask, stop lying to ourselves, stop hiding, you know? So it was really just, everything that I'm doing is really about me. You know, all these things that you see me do is really about me exposing myself. And then through my exposure, I find that there are so many women like me that want to be like, you know what, I need the help and the assistance. Let me come join you on this, you know? And so that's what started I Am Living Aligned, which was really about me living in alignment to taking care of myself, being better to Gigi, and stop blaming other people for what I don't have. If I'm giving everything away, then I'm teaching people that I don't need anything. You know what I'm saying? So I started being more on reserve and learning how to do that. And then, you know, being passionate about wanting to make sure that I teach that as well.
Wow. Yo, you just said so much. Like, to be honest with you, I feel like our like sexual everything definitely came down from a generation that was embarrassed to like look at their own coochie. You know what I'm saying? you know, embarrassed about oral sex, you know, or, you know, embarrassed about, you know, having a desire, you know, for like a threesome, or, you know, like it's so many things. And a lot of the women definitely like suffered in silence. Like, you know, they had a husband who was beating them at home, you know, wouldn't tell anybody, it's crazy because everything was, or a lot of the stay together for the kids, you know, type of like families. It's crazy because, yeah, they were basically trained to always give and not to receive, you know what I mean? And I think that that's like, you really just said a lot. And man, people who experience divorce, it's a lot, you know what I mean? And there's not a lot of good resources out for, you know, people to, it's so many phases that you go through after being divorced, and you need more support. And if people around you aren't going through the same thing, it's very difficult. So listen, I commend you for this entire journey, and then taking the time to, you know, help others like really heal, because that's a lot, you know what I mean?
And because, and I think one of the things about just being the Aries and learning more about myself, I realized that I do have to be the pioneer on some things. Meaning I do have to be the one to say, hey, I went through this, the door is open, you want to come in here? You know, even though that's what I needed someone to be like, hey, sis, I went through this, come on in here. And it wasn't necessarily available for me in the ways in which I feel like that I've been able to birth it for other people. But when we're talking about liberation and talking about how we are now not just doing things for us, we're doing things for our grandbabies, our great grandbabies. So it's important that we do find what issues that our mothers and our fathers could not deal with, you know, and try our best to mend those spots and heal, you know, and clear it up. So we're not keep duplicating the cycle of what people want to call generational curses. For me, it's really us afraid of our power, and we're not really coming to the forefront and just really handling that stuff. So we don't want to do it, and then we just keep passing it down. So it's not necessarily a curse, as it is us just being lazy and not wanting to really hone in on what it is that we need and give it to ourselves. You know?
Wow. So, so with that said, you said a lot, and a lot of it is more of the like emotional, spiritual, you know, like mental health aspect of things. I want to jump right into some of this physical stuff. Tell us about the cucumber coochie cleanse, baby, because I know I remember just seeing it like going around like, yo, this chick is doing this cucumber cleanse, cucumber in your coochie, and so many different, like, you know, magazines, bloggers, you know, talked about it, you know, doctors are like, you know, some people are like, yay, nay, you know, then a lot of people are like, yay, 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 you know, like, tell us about, just give us some insight on this.
Okay. Well, first of all, I didn't have no idea by me doing this video, it was going to explode the way it did. I had no idea that I was going to be plastered on blogs. I mean, it was a lot, like you said, everywhere. It was a good balance of good and bad. And, you know, for me, it was the first time I had been put on such a platform and a spectacle like that, right? That I had to call my mom. I was like, Mom, what? She's like, girl, don't even worry about it. If they talking about it, that's good. It's conversation, which is what you wanted. And for me, I was a woman who early on, due to diet and due to stress and due to not really understanding myself all the way, I suffered with bacterial vaginosis a lot, which we know as BV. You know what I'm saying? So because those were the things that I had struggled with early on in my life, especially like, you know, in college and those things. And again, women's health has always been my thing, right? So because I've always been studying the coochie, I'm like, no, I want to know. So in the process of doing some studies, okay, I wound up running across a book that The Secrets of the Jade Goddess. And in this book, it talks about some of the ancient practices of some of the women back in like the early Asiatic times, when they were talking about different things that they would use when it comes down to them having sex with multiple people, right? So how they would regain their balance and what are some of the things they would naturally use. And so the cucumber was one of those things. And they would, they talked about how the Asian women would peel it and how they would, like put it in. So everything I put in the video was what I read. They would put it in the vagina and they would move, do counterclockwise and then take it out and go back the other way around. But the reason why they did it is because the cucumber is 95% water. And because it's so much water, when you think about the fact that usually when we have bacterial vaginosis, it means that our pH is too high. We're supposed to be in between that 3.8 to 4.5 range, right? So but a man's sperm now is very alkaline. His sperm is up in the 7s and the 8s, and if he has a bad diet, it can be even worse in the 9s. So think about a natural vagina temperature that's supposed to be, we'll just say 4, right? And we'll just say that the sperm is at 8. When those two come in contact, that's going to throw her bacteria, that's going to throw her vaginal flora off. So if she's constantly receiving this, right, from multiple partners or even the same partner, depending on his diet, it's throwing her pH off. But what can regain pH balance naturally quicker? If you dilute it. If I put a natural, and because the cucumber is 95% water, it's considered like closer to neutral and a little bit acidic as well. So if I introduce something as natural as a water, natural water cleanser into the body, it's going to take that high pH and bring it back closer to where the natural vagina pH is, and then she'll regain herself naturally because that's what she does. She, over time, she will get back to her balance, but the cucumber helps to aid that. If you know that you're already a little out of balance and you get ready to go have sex and you don't want that tinge smell because the bacterial vaginosis will, give off a fishy smell. So if you don't want the fishy smell, you can use the cucumber prior to because it's going to help you come back to balance. Or right after sex, you can use it again because it's going to bring you back to balance. So I want people to look at it as a natural way outside of using these douche mechanisms, Massengill, all these store products that we've been told that has so many chemicals. The cucumber has none of that, especially if you're using the organic one. Especially if you're using it. And then I have women now, they're growing their own, which is the best thing that you can do. Is grow your own.
Listen, you just said so much. One, listen, when women are having coochie issues, that be something so personal that no one wants to talk about. You know what I mean? Because it ends up being like, oh, like, are you dirty? Are you nasty? Is he dirty? Are they dirty? You know what I mean? Like, you have that kind of conversation. And then every woman, if something ain't right down there, it changes everything. Like, you're so, self-conscious, you might not even want to be sexual. It's going to, change like your moisture, your wetness, your discharge, everything, you know what I mean? But I ain't really thought about that. Like the thought of the man's diet, which is kind of funny because I do have vegan friends like Bridget, shout out to Bridget, who be like, she don't want no meat eating dick in her life. You know what I'm saying? Because it changes you.
It does. There was a whole post about it on Facebook yesterday. They was talking about the differences, right? Wow. So I've had both, and this is what my comment was. I agree that if you're just basing it off a diet, then yes. But I've also had some vegan men, right, who have horrible attitudes. They meaning like they're mean as hell. They're angry all the time. They stuff don't taste better than some of the meat eaters I've had because they are mean, and it's about the body chemistry more than anything. It's about the spirit of the person that makes them taste great. You know what I'm saying? And like you said, crazy. Also where you are in your mind, because if you are feeling like you ain't feeling too high, it's gonna be harder for you to have a orgasm because you're not gonna
Yeah, but the mix of both. Now I'll say this: I ain't had no vegan dingaling. I've only played with meat eaters, so that's all I know. You know what I'm saying? But drink that water, drink that pineapple juice. Let's keep that exercise up. I don't need nothing messing with me differently. But it's true because once you start to share, be intimate with that person, like you'll smell different, you know what I mean, or
Yes.
like taste different. So
Yes.
that's really, really
Yeah.
cool information. And I would say I definitely saw more good, reviews about it than bad. And then, no lie, the chicks for the most part will stick anything up there that's in CBS, and that stuff don't be natural. Like I remember, it was a guy when I was much younger who was like, yeah, like he used to date this girl who coochie smelled like flowers, and I was like, now that ain't normal. You know what I'm saying? But she used to use these thing called Norforms, and they were like basically like a deodorizer, and it was like, I don't think I want my coochie to smell like coochie, not to smell like flowers,
Come
kind of
on
thing. So
now.
I found that to be interesting, but people throw it straight up in there,
They
or really
do.
anything that's over the counter. So that's at least a natural, product, or even like the dishes, like people, you heard 1,000 times that they're not great for you, but people are like,
Yes.
oh, well, it's vinegar, and vinegar is natural. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know what I mean? So cucumber, you got that, right in the house. So it's definitely something that, you could, explore, you know what I mean?
Yes.
At least. So that's crazy. So you had no clue that you was going to go all kinds of viral, all
I
kinds
got
of famous.
banned, blocked off Facebook for a couple, like they blocked
Wow.
me for 2 days. I got back on, they blocked me for a week because people kept like flagging it or, kept talking good reviews about it. It was like I was on this yo-yo, and then it went to YouTube, and it was like literally I went to sleep and maybe it had like 1,000 views, and when I woke up it was like at 40,000, and it was steady going. I was just like, what has happened? But it wound up getting to a lot of the blogs because of one major person who was on Facebook who's like a Science Babe. Science Babe is like a real huge like blogger when it comes down to science, and she likes to debunk a lot of natural things for science. And so at the same time, Gwyneth Paltrow was talking about doing some natural stuff too. You know what I'm saying? She wasn't talking about the cucumber, but she was talking about some natural stuff. And I got compared to Gwyneth Paltrow, Love, and then from that point, everything started attaching us together. And I'm like, I don't know what has happened, but overall, it really, I would not have met you had not that happened because of that, Tayomi wound up getting it. Like I do Exotica because of it. So a lot of my being able to teach women more about sexuality and and how to use natural things, because I talk to women too about the alternatives of using crystals to masturbate versus using, the toys and those things. I'm not saying throwing the toys away, but these are platforms that I'm able to now talk about how you can just add a natural practice to what you already have. So it was a really great thing that it happened. It really was. And I'm glad that I did, even though I was, a little like, should I do this? And I was like, no, I'm going to do it, So.
Yeah. Okay. Listen, so speaking of, shout out to Tayomi. She's so amazing.
I love Tayomi.
Exotica is amazing.
Yes.
You just said a lot. So I did catch you at Sex Down South.
Yes.
Last year, and everything about Sex Down South was amazing. But you had your booth.
Yes.
And at your booth, you had all things Gigi.
Yes.
And you had all these wonderful waist beads. So that's when I got like my first like official like Gigi fitting of the waist beads. So I know a lot of people wear waist beads, more for fashion or not really aware of, what they are, what they represent, maybe also not even knowing the difference in, the quality of the beads or like meanings of beads, that kind of thing. I know for me personally, I've always, had waist beads since I was very young. My mother, wears waist beads. So with my mom being from, Liberia, she's always had waist beads because, her tribe didn't used to wear clothes. So when the women would go on their cycle, they would tie fabric from front to back to like be like a panties for like, maxi pad or that kind of thing. So when they stopped, running around topless and then started wearing, you know, actual clothes, they continue to wear the beads as like a, you know, a sign of like femininity. And, you know, the little kids get the little beads, you know, passed down to them. Some people wait until, the child like has their cycle or something like that, give them their beads, or we share beads. Like I have, you know, beads from my mom, I have beads from my friends, because it's people who you get your beads from. I don't like buying over the counter beads, you know what I'm saying? I don't know who made that. I don't know what kind of beads they are. I don't know whose love is in those beads, so I wouldn't wear them. But, you know, people see mine all the time and they're like, they're so pretty. So let me tell you, you get beads from Gigi, it's a whole nother experience. You know, I went to the table. She was like, oh, you know, which one are you attracted to? And I was like, oh, you know, I like this one. I like that one, y'all. I picked these beads. And then Gigi was like, oh yeah, this one is for love. What? I ain't trying to fall in love. I ain't ready. What you mean? Oh, this one is for this one. Like I picked so many things that I had been trying to disconnect with. And that's exactly what I was like attracted to. And Gigi didn't know that, you know what I mean? And I'm not, you know, big on I'm not big on like astrology or even like, you know, tarot cards and that kind of thing. But, you know, the fact that I was attracted to beads that had meaning, and the meanings behind them were things that were gaps in my life, it was crazy to me, you know. And then Gigi don't like to play fair. She gonna take him and she gonna tie him on you, you know what I'm saying? And then, you know, like for me, I get attached to my beads, like especially if they like super pretty. So if they break, you know, I'm trying to restring them. I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to do that. And she's like, no, you know, that kind of thing. So I wanted to show you guys a pair of, this is one of my, get influencer hand. There you go. Here go one of my beautiful beads from my bud that broke recently. You know, I was sad about it, but I started to, I think that I said I'm going to like label the meaning of them and keep them in a little jar or something that, you know, that way it kind of like symbolizes some of the challenges I had, but they're so beautiful. And these ones, so let me dig them out my pants. They in here. Hold on.
Them love beads.
These ones, yeah, everybody loves my love beads. So these little pink ones, the pink ones are my love beads. You see them? Aren't they beautiful? They sparkle. They be sparkling and stuff, you know. And then like this one is, you know, very like reflective and pretty. Like this one was more about my vision. Like kind of like moving forward with like my goals and all that stuff, all this stuff. So that was this one. And then this one, I got this one for my waist training, guys. You see it's dropped down really low now, which makes me happy. You see how slim and pretty these ones are? Yeah, so everybody be like, oh, I love your beads. I got my beads from Gigi. So I wanted to ask, you know, Gigi about, you know, because everybody's background with, you know, waist beads may be different, especially like Africa is huge, you know what I mean? West Africa is different from East Africa, and South Africa is different from North Africa. So, you know, different, and inside of, you know, small areas, it's a bunch of different tribes and people that speak different things. So there are different, you know, meanings. So she could have a totally different, you know, interpretation of this. But I wanted to talk about her journey with waist beads, how you can get waist beads from her. And I especially wanted to talk to Gigi about cultural appropriation, because I definitely have a lot of people that are not people of color that, you know, are like, man, you know, I really like these beads, but what are they about? What do they mean? And is it okay for me to wear them? You know what I mean? So I wanted Gigi to take a moment to like educate you all on that. So let's start with, tell us how you got into waist beads and where yours come from, and like, you know, a little bit about the history about them.
Well, waist beads for me kind of started when I was talking about the journey of, you know, what I was on as far as balancing out my femininity and those things. I started to kind of look at, you know, different imageries of women as they were working on that. And if you start to look at it, you'll see, you know, women that'll pop up, and if they are in their nudity, you'll start to see these bands on. And I kind of like, a lot of people like wanted to know what this was about, you know, so I started going on the journey of figuring out what, you know, waist beads were, you know. And so so as I went on the journey of them and started to learn a little bit more about them, one of my sisters who was actually living here in Atlanta, she actually went back home. And so, meaning went back home, her bloodline is from Nigeria. So she went over, and then so she started to really talk more about them when she was there. And I was like, hey, you know, send me some beads, you know. So I started getting the beads from her while she was at home. And so from that point, you know, a lot of people started seeing mine too and wanted to talk to me about it. And I started to really talk to the women that I was working with on trying to get them to understand how to really get their femininity into balance. I started to tell them what it was doing for me, which was that instantly when I put them on, the curve in my energy started to get a little bit different. Like I automatically, and this is what I see, when women put on, they automatically do this like circle thing. And it's almost like the beads itself is like, it just like whoop, whoop. It's like, it reminds you instantly that we have wombs, you know what I'm saying? And you're constantly creating. And so for me, it made me conscious of why I had it there, which was, you know, the femininity part, be more feminine. Like I told y'all, I because I was overly working myself and in my masculine, that was one of the areas that I needed to work on. So having the beads, and I started to really work with the beads within my clients and starting to see them do well, you know, just starting to see them improve on how quick they was adapting to the feminine energy. And so then I started to do even more research on how, for me, the waist beads are also, they're so color coordinated as well. You have different colors, which means different ones make you feel a certain way. Not all waist beads you put on gonna make you feel less sexy. Some of them make you feel emotional.
That's facts.
You know what I'm saying? You put them on, you like, oh my God, my heart feels, or my throat feels a little bit more open, because waist beads have colors, and colors are chakra therapy. No matter, like today, you popping on the gold, right? I got the purple. These colors they're vibrating into our auras, because around your body, you also have this color field. From the bottom of your feet to the top of your head is colors that are being projected out, right? And then up and down your spine. You have these color wheels that are doing this. So when you put these colors on, especially on your womb, it's directly touching your body, and it's giving you a boost of what you're missing. And that's why when I ask the question, what are you attracted to? Your eyes are the windows to your soul, right? And because they're sending out signals. So whatever you are attracted to, that's color therapy. It's letting you know what you need. It's the same way you would do if you were picking your crystals. When you go into a crystal room and you're like, ooh, that's amethyst. Well, the reason why you need that amethyst is because something about your vision needs to be activated. You're working on that energy, whether you know it or not. This is what's happening. So it allowed me to not only teach women that you're being more feminine, is allowing you to get more and center on what you need in your femininity, but you're also boosting your vibration of your chakras. You're healing yourself naturally by wearing these waist. You know, so that's really what it's been for me, and it's been growing. Like every year, the waist bead thing for me gets bigger and bigger, because I do have women like you who are bringing me more women, and then women start to see just on social media, they're starting to see how the women themselves are going through changes. You know what I'm saying? Like Tyama is another person who talks about like her waist bead journey as well, and how she's used it to weight control, which is another reason why we do waist bead. This is the original waist clenchers. Y'all out there wearing these bands, you put them waist beads on and see if you think you can overindulge today. No, you ain't, because these waist beads will beat you. They will bite you and be like, come up off of that, right? So when you think about ways in which you can use these beads, you know what I'm saying? You can use it for weight if you want to do that. You know what I'm saying? You can use it to boost your vibration. You know what I'm saying? You can use it to just remind yourself of the things that you're working on. I make all women put the intentions into their beads. So if you choose love beads and you know you need to work on love, I make sure that you hold your beads and you talk to your beads about what you're working on, because now your vibration is in the beads. I've already programmed the beads to be open and for you to receive and you to get all the best things that you need. But now it's your job to put your specific intention. So when it touches your body, it's going to, every day you see it, every day you touch it, it's reminding you that, hey, we're working on something and we're going to get it too. It's going to happen.
Yeah. And that's so real though, because, you know, no one can deny that. Like when you go to certain places, you know, the interior designers design places with different colors to make you feel a certain way when you come in. So no one can go against that. You know what I mean? Or even on a daily basis, when you're like, oh, you know, I'm in the mood to wear this. You know what I mean? Like that says something about your energy, you know, for that day. That's why some people like wearing uniforms. They be like, damn, like every day they in uniform. That's why when they get into some regular clothes, they like, oh, you know, this is what I'm feeling. So that's crazy. And they do make you feel different. Like when you pop one, you feel some type of way. Or if you don't have any on at all, you feel like bare butt naked. You know what I'm saying? Whereas when you have them, you could be walking around straight naked, but you never feel like you're not clothed. You know what I mean? Like you feel like you're always wearing something. And I like that visual of being naked, you know, with the beads on. Like it's just such a connection, you know, to like your origin. But yeah, like they're like symbolic, just like, you know, you put an intention into a wedding ring, you know, a wedding band, you know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, something for yourself. So I love that. So,
and one of the things I want to say too, one of the things too I want to add to that too, because the when you tie them on, a lot of women be like, well, what happens after that point? You know what I'm saying? And or when, like you said, they do break, right? And because you have put your intentions into them, and it's like you've grown a bond with them. But I want to remind everybody that they're part of your spiritual tools. They're your practice to remind you that you're growing. You know, so once they break, you want to let them go because it's time to work on something else. So you don't want to restring them or try to put them back. Why would you if you made a wish and the wish came true, why would you keep wishing for the same wish over So I want to remind people that even the breaking of the beads is also a part of the process. Like, be just as excited as when you tie them on as when they break. You know what I'm saying? But no restringing. We don't do that. And yes, they are supposed to stay on you. You know, you don't take them off. Why would you want to take your wish and your promise off to yourself? No.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So,
yeah.
Because I get that question a lot. Like, what am I supposed to do with my beads, bro? No.
You know what I'm saying? First of all, my beads be quality, okay? These ain't no rinky dink $1.99 shit, okay? No. My joint is expensive, okay?
They come straight from Ghana, baby. Those are Ghana beads, and I get my beads from Ghana, and I just started recently getting some beads from Kenya too. We have a sister that's over there that's also stringing some beads. So I'm excited to have the vibration of Africa, like, you know, that I can really say, hey, these come from your ancestors' DNA place, you know, like that too makes the bead different, you know?
Yes. So for women, specifically women that are not of color, you know, who want, you know, to experience this, what is your advice for them? What is your take on that in general?
I do, like, because you mentioned Sex Down South. Shout out to T and Marla. I love y'all so much. Because being on the Sex Down South platform as well, I have had, you know, some of our sisters, some of our, you know, come to me that were not people of color that wanted to participate, but they did not want to culturally appropriate. And so I told them that number one, that right there also is a huge thing. Like, if you're coming and wanting the education behind it, and that's what I would say, number one, get the education. So that when you are engaging in a practice that comes from us, right? And somebody asks you about it, the first thing that comes out of your mouth is, this is from Africa, this is from Ghana. I learned, I was taught. You can really tell your story about how you didn't just put this on because it was pretty and nice and cute and oh my God, it's amazing. You can talk about the history behind what you're doing, because that's what really happens to, you know, when it comes down to cultural appropriation, is when we're demonized for these things, right? We're called witches and all these kind of things, you know, for having these things on, and then you're wearing them, and then you want to be called a goddess, and you want to be called queen, and you want to be called these things. That's where it becomes an issue. But if you can understand that these are the practices that makes us who we are, makes us whole, makes us be reminded of our femininity and these things, I'm all down for our sisters that are non-people of color coming in, because I do feel like if you think about where we all came from, and this is just my belief, we all came from a woman of color. We all have the DNA genes of being, being, core people, being Black people. But at the same time, we have to recognize that. So as long as you are recognizing where this is coming from, and you're getting them from someone who's going to educate you. Like, I don't tie not one bead on not one non-woman of color without giving her the full education of what's going on. And the fact that, and then I also tell, like, listen, even in your culture, when women in your culture see these beads, don't allow them to go and culture appropriate. Tell them, like, hey, listen, if you're going to join this and do this or whatever, you need to go to a woman of color, let a woman of color teach you, and then let her grant you the permission if she deemed necessary to tie beads on you. Don't you go and get beads and tie them on yourself.
Get the blessing. Get the blessing for sure. That's what I'm behind everything that you said. I think that the key issue is generally lack of education. You can't just do things because you see it and you think it's cute. That's not appropriate for anything. No. And two, don't take away from the culture. If you want to continue to help it grow, direct them to the right person to do so. You yourself, don't start making trips to Ghana and now you selling waist beads and now you blessing that ain't your calling. You know, like, this is a passion for people who are taking the time to study this, and this has become their mission. It's not a business venture for us. You know what I'm saying? This isn't a trend for us. You know, this isn't an exercise. This isn't a style, thing for us. This is major. So that's generally like the issue with cultural appropriation. If you become a culture vulture, that's not okay. You know what I mean? So I think that's definitely a big thing. Gigi, do you have some beads around to show us?
I do. Well, you know what? I have the ones that I was just talking to you guys about, the ones from Kenya that are right here.
See.
So.
Oh my, yes.
Of course, the white deals with the crown chakra, so these helps to balance out the I am. These are also used for fertility beads too. So for women that want to work on boosting up their vibration to get pregnant, and not just pregnant with babies, you may be trying to get pregnant with your vision and be pregnant with, multiple things. You know what I'm saying? But so all of the Kenya beads kind of look like those, because I wanted them to be more like chakra centered, so that you guys can like really focus. Like, these colors are so bold, they're so strong, they're so heavy.
Oh my God, that one just snatched my edges.
Yes, look, it's so heavy too. Like, I mean, like, just the beads, like how she did them.
Wow.
Like, I could feel her energy. Like, I could feel her just like, because she is like some muscle energy. But let me grab some from Ghana too. Hold on one second.
Wow, y'all, did you see those? I ain't gonna lie. Them neons took me out. I love the white ones as well too, though. I think that's like amazing. And I'm attracted to those too. I have a fibroid, you know what I mean? So I feel like something like that could be, cool and healing. You know what I mean?
Yes, it helps all of that. Any type of feminine womb issues that you think that you have going on, it helps to balance that out, because a lot of the stuff that we deal with in our wombs is lack of trust. You know what I'm saying? Not trusting ourselves, and also not trusting our partners. You know what I'm saying? Not, people who we agreed that we wanted to go into, like, this co-partnership with. If it fell through, we have all the energy of like, so we store it in our wombs. That's where we store it at.
Yeah.
And it turns into fibroids.
That's crazy. And the crazy thing is, like, if you read about them too, it says that they can naturally go away by themselves, but we get so worked up and stressed, about them. People get them surgically removed and they be popping back up. You know what I'm saying? So if you just take the time for, the healing process and believe in your body and the healing process, and eat right and adorn it you know what I'm saying? It'll manage itself. Oh, what's that, bro? Let me
And
see.
then and talk to your womb too. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't be afraid to touch your womb and like and say, you know what I'm saying, like, if it's forgiveness that you need, then forgive yourself. If you feel like you made a decision that you didn't necessarily want to make, now that you look at it, then give yourself forgiveness, but do it as you're touching your womb. You know what I'm saying? You know, I know a lot of women who've gone through, you know, miscarriages, and those things also allow them to store stuff in their womb too. So rubbing your womb, you know what I'm saying, and saying I'm fertile and I'm okay, and releasing a lot of the things. I don't think we talk to our body parts enough. Like, we need to start talking to them.
So right.
You know? But look at
me. And we'll affirm everything else, but not that. Oh, let me see. Oh my God.
What I love about these is that they're also glow in the dark. So these bars here, so like in enough light at night when you're laying down, if you look at your beads, these right here will be glowing. So these right here have, of course, it has the solar plexus on it, and it has the throat chakra. So this is helping you to work on your willpower and work on your throat chakra, and then just illumination all around, you know? So these are some.
Oh my gosh. Gorgeous. Oh my gosh. Those are amazing. I love those. I got to have those. Oh my, you see what I'm saying?
So these help you to work on that sex energy. Anytime you see that red and that sacral and that root chakra energy, but it's also illuminating too. It's got two blues on it.
Look, y'all. Listen, I have the reds and these, y'all.
That's right.
Wow.
So yeah, I got so much stuff over here, and these are all
I just got amazing
that I have to load up in the site on the site. But you know, I know you coming to see me, so I'm gonna wait till you get here
coming.
first.
Oh yeah, I'm coming over there. I got to have that. Like, what? I need about 3 pair of them joints. Oh my God, they're amazing. Wow.
It's a perfect time too, because this is the Libra season. So this is the balance of like love and money and relationships. Like, we're in the cycle of determining what that looks like fine tuning that. So getting your beads will be good to program what you know you want, right? So you can be drawing in exactly the type of partners that you want to receive, because from now until the next year, we're drawing in some good stuff, y'all. Some love, some money, some
Gigi, I swear you be saying so much, because all this time I just thought it was cuffing season.
Listen.
You know? But now I understand why it's cuffing season.
Yes, that's why. And so every year around this time, that's why they call it the cuffing season, because it's the Venus time, you know? So we want to not only just, you know, work on the relationship aspect, but we want to look better. So we're working on our beauty and, you know, wanting to boost up what we look like, get our hair done, get our hair cut, wear colors that makes us feel sexy, because we're ready to wrap that up during this season. So yes, it's a good time to like set the tone for
that. Okay, so speaking of cuffing, let's just go ahead and go into Kinked Up ATL. Okay, let's look, since we done broke out the cuff, y'all. So let me tell you this. Kinked Up ATL, man. So the very first time that I witnessed the Kinked Up ATL, y'all, like, I felt like I was already, like, you know, freaky, not like, you know, like lifestyle freaky, ain't that freaky, but, you know, like freaky, you know, I'm definitely, like, I'll say I've taken those freak level tests, you know what I'm saying? I generally have high numbers, okay? I'm just gonna say that, okay? So, y'all, I witnessed Kinked Up ATL because we were hosting one of the events at the studio. So there were multiple events, and it was like the one of the introductory events was at the studio. When I tell y'all, it was such a beautiful presentation. First of all, the inclusion of so many different people, different body types, you know, different, you know, genders, you know, same-sex couples, you know, heterosexual couples, like, everything was like very open. Then the presenters, y'all, like, no lie, when I go to like fitness conventions and stuff. There's always a booklet, and you got the presenters in there, and it's got their bios and their specialties and stuff like that. Yo, I'm looking at these presenters, I'm like, whoa, she has a degree in what? She says, what? What's this? Tantric this? BDSM that? A breath play? What is breath play? Like, I'm looking at these presenters, and when I tell you, and then you see them, and they're like, nice and personable, and events that I kind of been to, like, before that, the people be kind of like lusty looking, you know what I'm saying, kind of thing, like it was like these are like real teachers, real educators, and then they did like mini presentations, so it was like a light version to like educate the audience of what they're presenting, and then if it was something you like, you could go to the actual event and experience it. You know what I'm saying? So when I tell you, man, I'm talking about this dude had like all kinds of like whips. He's like, cha, 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 taking the girl, and the girl is like, oh, I was like, oh, wow. Like, it was so nice. Then you had people like Tayomi who, was sitting with another woman and, taking us through like a tantric, type of experience. And I recently experienced like tantric sex, and I had never experienced it before. Like, yeah, like I didn't know how to connect without like penetration, or at least touch, lick, pull something. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't know that like that was possible because I had never, had that type of connection with someone to do that. And it was mind blowing. So it was mind blowing to see all of this. And then, beautiful, beautiful people of color that were like professionals and like educators. So Kinked Up ATL is coming up this month. It's going to be a virtual event, Halloween night, y'all. And I'm so excited about it because there's so many people that could not experience this because they're not in Atlanta to like physically enjoy it. But now it's next level as a virtual event. Man, listen, I encourage everyone to get involved in this show. There's something for everyone.
Yes.
Something for everyone to learn, no matter what your level of anything is. There's someone who has something you're going to be interested in with Kinked Up ATL. So Gigi, tell us, give us the whole, educate us on what Kinked Up is. Who can we expect this year? What can we expect? This is the first time it being a virtual event. Like what's that going to be like?
I know, and I'm excited about it because I feel like I'm getting a chance to like do what we do at Vertical Joe's on a virtual platform. So, but it's almost like I always breakout rooms for people coming in. It's just, I'm excited about it. But let's get into it. So Kinked Up ATL is my annual sacred sex and sacred kink event. What we do is we start off with education, because when it comes down to kink and those things, people of color are just not that educated about it, because first of all, we see it as being something that is not for us. Like, all other, cultures do it, but we don't. And the reality is we do. We just, of course, Black people don't talk about stuff a lot. So we just, we haven't been talking about it. So Kinked Up ATL is for people to come and learn what kink is. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're no matter who you are, if you're having sex, you're doing some type of kink in the bedroom already.
You're doing exactly.
If you're spanking, or if you like a little scratch or a little pinch, or all these are different types of kink. But I wanted to bring people into a safe space, which is what Kinked Up ATL is. We're a safe space for people of color. It's and not just people of color, but primarily that's who we're catering to, people of color and other people, all genders, to come in and understand that we have to learn about what kink is before we start to get in depth into it, because we don't want to hurt anybody. We don't want to harm. So a lot of people want to try choking and stuff, but you can literally kill someone, trying to do certain things in the bedroom, like, with, impact play and candle wax and these things. You got to know how high to hold these candles. You hold it too low, you can literally burn somebody. So my idea was,
I've done it.
Yeah, my idea was I wanted to do these things myself. Like I told you early on, a lot of the events and stuff that I do start off because these are things that I wanted to experience. And so I just wanted to, go to the dungeon, and this was before Candy started doing her dungeon because I would have just started doing hers, right? So I was like, I just wanted to spend a night in the dungeon and just do some freaky shit, with some people who want to do some freaky shit. And so I just put it out there on IG one day. I was like, yo, who would do some dungeon stuff with me? And I was amazed. I had about 15, 20 women who were like, Gigi, please, I want to get free. I've always wanted to do some stuff like that. So I was like, okay, well, let's do it. So it went from because I got so much feedback when I just put it out there as let me see if I can do something. I was like, hold on, I can't bring these people into space and they don't know what they're doing, and I'm learning too, and then they hurt themselves. So let's have a day of education first, and then and do all the stuff that we learned on Education Day. And so that literally birthed Kinked Up ATL. Was literally just me wanting to do some freaky shit, and other people want to do some freaky shit with me. But now it's turned into like so many different levels of it, because like last year I added 2 additional days. I added a day of just sacred sex where we get a chance to talk about our traumas and talk about the lack of touch and the lack of intimacies and all those. Because what I realized is we have a day of education, and then when we go to the dungeon, right, we are so high off this euphoric energy of impact play and all these things. But then usually when you get into those levels of kink and the more you tap into the deep levels of it, it does open up your trauma. So I found that after we did it the first year, and we only did it those first 2 days, there was an energy in the air where we needed to talk. People wanted to talk. It wasn't enough. We wanted more. So I was like, okay, well, in the next year, let's do more. Let's take that high energy that we have and all this trauma that's coming out, and now let's ground it. Let's talk about it. So we spent Saturday after the dungeon really grounding all this energy and talking about stuff that happened to you in your childhood that maybe you couldn't talk about nowhere else.
Yeah, for
like
sure.
Stuff. And then the last day, because after we didn't had a whole day of having impact play and being spanked and girl flogging and stuff, you're gonna have some bruises, right? So Sunday self-care. So now on Sunday we spent a whole day of getting massages and getting raped, getting all of the metaphysical practices, getting our attunement back into alignment before we go back and return into the world to do the things that we normally have to do, because this is a high weekend. We're moving a lot of energy. So it's become a real spiritual, even though it's kink and it's a spiritual weekend.
I love that so much, but because one thing we don't talk about definitely is trauma. Like, to be honest with you, I know very few women who haven't experienced any sexual trauma. Like, most people I know have either been molested or been raped, or both, you know what I mean? And like, I know how that affected me. Like, I got like real therapy for a long time, you know what I'm saying? And it definitely, affected my, my interaction. Like, I know for like a long time I couldn't enjoy being like fingered, or anything similar to that type of touch, because it was, it was connected to a bad experience for me. You know what I mean? Like, so we need that and that safe space to discuss. Because the other thing about us as a culture, therapy is not a thing for Black people. Black people go to therapists, oh, now you crazy, you know what I'm saying? But to be honest with you, white people go to therapists and it's like a normal part of like life, you know what I mean? And then the men, like the number of guys that I know, they're like, oh yeah, kissing. I don't like kissing, you know what I'm saying? Or they're not really connected to, more sensual things. Why? My dad told me this, or my dad told me that, or my dad never hugged me, or my dad never told me that he loved me, you know what I'm saying? Or my parents never, really like hugged me. My parents never kissed me. You know what I'm saying? Like the fellas.
Yeah, the fellas got a lot
going on.
They sure do. A lot of them, like you talking about not knowing women like that have not gone through that. It's the same for me when it comes down to men too. Most of young boys like get molested by their babysitters or just women who, you know what I'm saying, little older cousins and stuff. So we have, everybody has, I said this, we all have some level of PTSD. We all have it. Right. Some level of trauma that we have to work in and out of ourselves. And so what I found is impact play for me, or kink, you know, doing things inside of kink, whether it be me being the dominant or being the submissive, it's allowed me a safe space to release this energy that's been stored in my body for so long that I didn't even know that it was there, because we have a practice of just getting on through it, get past it. But what get past it means you pack on the energy that goes along with it, and then you shove it in some part of your body to deal with for later. But when does later come? It hardly ever comes. So now you're stacking something else on top of it. Now you got, so this thing has gotten so big now to where you can't manifest anything in your life, and you're wondering why. It's because you got all these experiences that you just have not released yet. You know, so it's been a beautiful thing, and I've seen, like, I'm still getting testimonies from people about things that has happened to them by coming to the weekend Kink ATL. So it's going to be great for us to get a chance to show people what they can experience by this virtual event before February, you know what I'm saying? Because we moved the weekend event to Valentine's weekend, and I'm excited about that because that's a really good weekend.
I'm excited about that too,
for sure. I'm excited, but you know, we get a chance to still keep our normal day and really show people what they can really see on our introductory night, our education night of what they're going to get a chance to experience to the dungeon. And you don't have to come to the dungeon, you know what I'm saying? You can just come on our first night. Participate in the watching of what, you know, these practitioners can do. But if you really, really have desiring to really let go, you know what I'm saying? Especially if you are a woman of color, if you're a brother of color, if you're a person LGBT, you know, community, and you've always wanted to feel safe in your sexuality and really explore. ATL is for you. It's for couples and singles. Like everybody, we want people to come. You know what I'm saying? To really have it. You're an adult. If you want to experience it, come and learn first, and then just have some, you know, have some fun with this. You know?
So what can we expect at the virtual show? The virtual event, October 31st. What can we expect to experience there?
So our first night, our Thursday night, is what we call our Kink Off event. So our Kink Off event allow everybody to see all the different practitioners that they can book for the dungeon night. So on the virtual event, I'm bringing that event that we do at Vertical Joe's, I'm bringing it live. You know what I'm saying? Where you can get to see all these practitioners. So of course, King Hef is coming back. He's with us every year. This year we got Siren, who's also Honestly Nay. She does the one. She does like different type of stuff. She's also great like at the floggers. Of course, you're gonna be there, tan it up. And then we have Mo the Muse. Of course, Mo comes with her sensual dancing.
Yes, Mo.
We got Yoni, the Yoni Whisperer. He does all kind of things with the Yoni. That's why he's called the Yoni Whisperer. And then also like hugely, Leo Rima, who is our person who does our suspensions, and she deals with the ropes. And then I'm so excited that we have Dungeon Masters this year, and we're bringing Jet Set and Jasmine and King Noir. So they're going to also come and like they're going to take over the dungeon for February. Like the whole dungeon party is theirs. So they can do whatever they want. They're going to be orchestrated. But they're going to show us some real kink shit for the virtual event. You know what I'm saying? Like when I think about like what true BDSM and kink is, the first people that come to my head is these two people. Okay, because they represent it so well to be, melanated couple, you know what I'm saying? And they not only just show us that side, like they show us them. Like I love how they show us them as a family, how their children are involved, and you know what I'm saying, as far as the business stuff's concerned, they're just dope people. So having all of mixed in together and us coming together, you know what I'm saying? Oh, I forgot one other person too. We got Coach Feline that's coming this year. She's a new person. So Coach Feline is dope because like she's a poet, but like she also like she does almost like this fitness with BDSM. So like she teaches you how to like take the ropes and then now incorporate it into your workout. You know what I'm saying? But
yes,
also
that's stamina. That you need some stamina for that.
Yeah, she's a dope ass dom too. So
Mm.
all of this is just the preview. Of course, we have other people that are going to be with us in February, but these are the main people that are going to come and show you the variations of all the things that we can bring to you
Wow.
to the February event.
Wow. Oh, and I know the costumes are gonna be crazy that weekend too. It's already everything, but you know, I'm super excited about it, to be honest with you. Yeah. So, oh my gosh, so much has transpired today. Gigi, first of all, I just want to say thank you. I appreciate you. I know you are a busy woman.
Oh, you a busy woman too, and I'm trying to like.
Listen.
I'm trying to get all of my fitness together. Like, I want to be this like master pole person, but not really in my head. Like, in my head, I'm already a master pole person.
But yes, really.
I want to just tease with it. Like, I want to like go around it 2 or 3 times and do a little bounce and like I just want to like I belong on P Valley. You know, I don't want to like really be on P Valley. I just want to act like I belong on P Valley.
Oh yes. You know, first of all, listen, you say less because you know, as the home of P Valley, we're gonna give it to you, honey. Please. Okay, I'm excited about that. You just measure that place from floor to ceiling so we can get you one of these at the club. Get you gathered, honey, because you deserve a paw. Okay.
Well, thank you.
Now, will you have the house like all to yourself soon, or how long before your daughter runs away?
Okay, so this is her junior year. So I have 2 years with, well, a year and a half, I'll say now. And then she'll be going to full sale before I'm like a complete free bird. But I've been enjoying these high school years with her, and I enjoy her being at Tri-Cities, which is your, you know, your home. Okay.
That's
so
right.
I'm enjoying how she's being nurtured over there. So it's gonna be really good to see all the other things that I get a chance to do when she is going off to college. You know what I'm saying? Like how much I can expand, you know, me being a pole master.
Yes, come on. I'm receiving all of this pole master excellence, honey.
Yes.
Oh my God. So listen, I appreciate you, sis. Do you have anything that you want to tell these people, like already, like let them know where to follow you, how to find you, what websites to go to? And like I said, guys, we just like sprinkled on things that, you know, Gigi is knowledgeable about, but she has so much expertise in so many things. Like, don't be ashamed to slide in her DM and ask for some things because she has a lot of knowledge to share and give. So tell us, Gigi, all the things.
Yes.
All the businesses, where to find you. Give it to us.
Yeah, so for waist beads, for readings, for advice, those things, please go to my website. It is IamLivingAligned.com. Or you can just go to my IG page. My IG page is @IamLivingAligned. And you can click on the bio. And if you click on the bio, all the links for like waist beads, to see stuff that I got on YouTube about waist beads, like all of my social medias will pop up on the link or whatever. Or you can just simply Google Gigi Robinson. If you Google Gigi Robinson, everywhere I am will pop up because I'm on Twitter, I'm on Facebook, I'm pretty much on everything.
Yes.
Okay, so that's the best way to kind of reach me. And then the last thing I would like to say is just like, please, if you haven't checked out Kinked Up ATL, the virtual event, please go and check it out now. We would love to have you and show you what it is that we can offer you when it comes down to those things. And I look forward to, you know, doing more with you, Joe, and us working together. I love you so much, and I appreciate you so much for having me on today.
Oh, man, I love you so much as well, bud. And I'm so happy we were able to do this So it's a lot going on. So people, that is it for today. I hope you sucked up all of that excellence from my bud, Gigi. Make sure you go follow her. Make sure you shop with her. And we will see you at Kinked Up ATL Halloween weekend. Okay, be in the building. All right. So with that said, bye bye.
Bye, bye. Talk to you later.